It's that Super Bowl, no, she my flow. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's that
So in the morning class, we were discussing the primitive data types, and we have said that Java is a strongly typed, and we have seen few categories of a data types, right? So the first category was a integer category, and the second one is a floating point numbers category, characters category, and a boolean category, right? So out of these four categories, in the morning session we have discussed the integer category, right? So under a integer category we have seen four different primitive data types: byte, short, int, and a long. Okay, so byte, if you are declaring any variable as a byte, then it will be having a capacity to hold the data which is enough to store in a 8 bits. See, now the statement I have changed. I hope you understood whatever I said, right? So what I said is, when you are declaring a particular variable as a byte, then it has a capacity to hold the number which can be occupied in a 8 bits. Hope that made a sense. Okay, so when you are declaring a particular variable as a short, then that variable will have a capacity to hold the information or a data which can be accommodated in a 16 bits. Hope this also made some sense. Okay, when you are declaring a particular variable as a int, then that variable will be having a capacity to hold the data which can be accommodated in 32 bits, right? When you are declaring any variable as a long, then that particular variable will be having a capacity to hold the data which can be accommodated in a 64 bits. Hope all the statements made some sense and you were able to understand whatever I said. Right? So clear with a bit representation for a number, and clear with why a particular variable need to be declared with a different data types based on a requirement. Right? So these are the things which we have discussed in our first session, that is a 9:30 session, 9:45 session. We have discussed a byte, we have discussed a short, we have discussed a int, we have discussed a long also, right? So next we need to discuss a float. Once we get an idea of a float, that means a fraction numbers, then you will be having a two different data types. One is a float data type and the next one is a double data type. Okay, so let us see how many bits will be allocated for a variable which is declared as a float or a double. The type float specifies a single precision value that uses 32 bits of storage. That means if you want to represent any particular number which has been declared as a float, then you will be using a 32 bit, right? So what is a single precision? I'll just tell you after a few points, because a few more people are adding. We'll have a discussion for everyone. Okay, so float, so means generally if you are declaring any variable as a float, then it will be taking a 32 bits, right? So that is the first point to be remembered. Okay, so just for a time being, just have in mind that there is a word called a single precision. I'll explain you what exactly is a single precision. Single precision is a faster on a some processor and it takes half as much space as double precision. Oh, there is also a term called a double precision also. Okay, we'll see what is a single precision and what is a double precision. But will become impressive when the values are either very large or very small, right? Huh. Now we will see what is a single precision and what is a double precision. I have given a description at the below of this particular slide. Hope this screen you can see. When you say single precision, right, you said 32 bits required for the storage. Can I say that 32 bits is nothing but a 4 bytes of a data, right? You can say. So if you are using a 4 byte of a data for representing any floating point value, be clear with my statement. What I'm saying is, if you are using a 4 bytes of a data for representing any floating point number, then that is called as a single precision representation, right? So how a single precision representation will be done? Say for example, whenever you say floating point value, it will be some 0 point something or a something like a 2.546 something. We have said that there will be a two notations. One is standard and another one is scientific. If you remember, when we were dealing with the literals, we said that if you want to represent a floating point number, you will be having a two representation. One is a standard and the next one is a exponent, right? So for a time being, so means this particular single precision, what we are saying is we will be using a 32 bits for a representing a particular floating point value. How that particular 32 bits will be divided? The first bit is for a sign. That means whether you are talking about a positive fraction number or a negative fraction number, right? If you are talking with respect to positive fraction number, then a sign bit will be a 0. If you are talking with a positive fraction number, then the sign bit will be a 0. If you are talking about a negative fraction values, then the sign bit will be 1. Okay, the sign bit will specify whether you are talking about a positive fraction number or a negative fraction number. Okay, if you are talking about a negative fraction number, then the sign bit will be 1. If you are talking about positive fraction number, then the sign bit will be 0. Right. Exponent, that means if you are saying some 2.5, that two fraction numbers, that will be represented using a 8 bits. Okay, 2 will be represented using a 8 bits, right? Then the fraction value after a decimal, whatever the fraction value you will be having, that particular fraction value will be having a 23 bits of a representation. Understood? Clear with the things? First bit is for a sign, next 8 bits for a exponent, that means a whole number, right? And remaining 23 bits are for the purpose of a fraction, right? If you are considering a number as a 2.5, right? If you are considering a number as a 2.5, number is a positive, so sign bit will be a 0 initially, so means 0 will be a sign bit. 2 will be converted to a binary, it will be represented using a 8 bits, right? 5 will be converted into a binary, because I was talking about a 2.5. 5 will be converted to a binary and it will be occupied in the 23 bits. Clear? This is single precision. If you are talking about a double precision, then these things will be doubled. What will be doubled? See, single precision means how many number of bits you are using? Totally 32 bits. Double precision in the sense, totally you will be using 64 bits, right? How that particular 64 bits will be divided? So first bit for the sign, 11 bits. See, in a single precision, 8 bits were used for exponent. In a double precision, 11 bits will be used for exponent. That means, can you store a larger number in a double precision when compared to single precision? Hope I made some sense. Okay, fraction in a single precision, it is giving you a 23 bits. In a double precision, it will give you a 52 bits. That means you can use 52 bits for a representing some fraction value. Please explain one more time. You want me to explain a single precision, double precision, right? First point is float. If you are declaring any variable as a float, then the variable will be having a 32 bits space to put some information, right? Now we are saying a variable is a fraction. Okay, so fraction means it can be any fraction, right? Now what I'm saying is, if you are considering number as a 2.5, okay, so this is a fraction number, right? So whether it is a positive number or a negative number, this is a positive number. Okay, so what I am saying is, if you want to store this particular plus 0.25, That means a positive number 2.5 in a some variable, how that particular information will be stored, right? You are using a positive, so this particular sign bit will be a 0. One bit will represent what sign of a number you are using, right? Exponent will take a 8 bits, 8 bits which is a exponent this particular 2. Okay, so 2 will be represented using 8 bits, right? So what is the binary equivalent of a 2? 1 0. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 0, right? So what is the fraction value remaining? Fraction value remaining is a 5. So this particular 5 will be represented using a 23 bits, right? So this is called as single precision, right? So at this particular point of a time, you should be having an imagination. See, we are using a one bit in the sense what are the different possible values? Only either it can store either 0 or 1. Okay, so 0 represents positive number and 1 represents a negative number, right? So this particular exponent, it is of a 8 bit, 8 bit in the sense what is the maximum value it can store? It can store 2 raised to 8, because the sign we have taken already separately. Okay, 2 raised to 8 in the sense what will be the value? Some 64,000 something. That will be a maximum exponent that you can store, right? So for a fraction you are using some 23 bits. That means you have a now capacity to put a value in a fractions which is of a range 2 raised to 32, right? So these are the ranges or the values with respect to single precision, right? So single precision in the sense you are using a 32 bits for a representing one fraction. Understood? In a similar lines, if you are creating any variable as a double, then it will be using a double precision. Double precision in the sense totally it will be using a 64 bits, right? One bit for a sign. There in a single precision it was using 8 bits. Now in a double precision it will be using 11 bits, right? So obviously this range will be 2 raised to 11. Okay, so in a single precision it was taking a 23 bits for representing a fraction value, but here it will be taking a 52 bits for representing a fraction value. That means this range now it will be a 2 raised to 52, whatever is the number, those many number of bits you will be having to put some fraction value, right? So have a glance on an example. If you have any doubts, please ask. Once you are clear, then only we will proceed.
Clear, sir.
Clear, right? Few questions in the chat box. Sir, what is the difference between
benim data request
single precision and double precision? Single precision, double precision itself is the difference. That means if you are saying a single precision, that means single precision is a method. Again, what method is saying is if you are giving me a some number, I'll be using a 32 bits for representing that number. This who is saying single precision is saying. Double precision, what it is saying is if you are giving me a some number, then I'll be using a 64 bits for representing that number. That is what double precision is saying, right? Who will be using a single precision and who will be using a double precision? If you are declaring any variable as a float, then that particular variable will be using a single precision. If you are declaring any variable as a double, then that particular variable will be using a double precision. Clear? Sir, for a plus minus, it will be indicated as 1 comma 0 at the starting. Yes. See, when it was a whole number, we were specifying a range, like from a minus to this particular point to a plus this particular point. Now when it is a fraction, it will be a tough to specify a range from a negative extension to a positive extension. So what we are doing is we are taking a one bit to represent whether if we are talking about a positive number or a negative number, right? So one bit will be used for representing a sign in case of a floating point values. Okay. Yes, we'll see a few more points with respect to a floating point and a double. Right. So we said that a floating point will be using a single precision, and it is saying that if you are using a single precision, obviously it will be a faster on some processors, it is saying, right? See, when you have a range is a small, that means a 32 bits is the range. If you want to do any addition operation, multiplication operation, whatever the stuff, then it will be restricted to only 32 operations, right? What we are saying is when compared to double precision, this particular single precision will be a faster itself, right? So variables of a type float are useful when you need a fractional component but don't require a larger degree of a precision. Larger degree of a precision in the sense, if you don't require, see, for the fraction, how many number of bits have been allocated when you are using a float? 23 bits have been allocated, right? If you want more than that, I want a exact precisions, means I want after a decimal, I want some 30 to 40 places, right? Then a single precision will not help you, because its range is only, it can show you the number which is at the extent of a 23 bits only. Okay, if you want to have a so much accuracy in a value, right? After a decimal, you want to have some 34 or a 40 or a 50 decimal 50 bits or the places, that range you want to give, then you cannot go with a single precision or the floating point data type. Okay. Example of how to declare a floating point variable, you will be using a keyword called a float, that is a data type. Then you will be declaring whatever the identifier name you want to use. Okay, so this is all about your float data type. Then you have something called a double precision. Double, the name has come just because it is using a double precision implicitly. In a double precision, as denoted by a double keyword, it uses 64 bits to store a value, right? So how that particular 64 bits have been divided, I already shown you. Double precision is actually faster than a single precision. It depends on the processor where you are working. It depends on the speed of a processor, like how many number of instructions it is being executed, right? Some modern processors that have been optimized for a high speed mathematical calculation, only on those systems double precision will be a faster, right? The reason might be something like they might have made some pipeline. Say for example, instead of doing the operations parallelly, they might have a divided first bit. You take, somebody will be executing the first bit, so exponent part will be executed by someone and the fraction part will be executed by someone. So when a task has been divided, then obviously the time taken will be reduced, right? So it is clearly specified that in some modern processors that have been designed for calculation purpose itself, in those things double precision will be having a higher speed, because when the person will be going for a double precision means after a fraction after a decimal point, he wanted to have some 50 to 50 53 was the range, right? If you want some 50 bits, right, that bigger range, that means obviously they will be interested in some analysis or the calculation. So obviously they will be having some configurations done for that particular manipulations to be done. Okay, so only on those processors this particular double precision will be a faster, right? So most of your functions like a sine of something, cos of something, square root of a something, right? So these are the inbuilt functions with respect to a Java. Okay, so all these inbuilt functions will be returning you the value in a double only. Means if you are giving a sine of 30, you will be getting some answer, right? That answer will be in a format of a double only, right? If you are giving a cos of a some 30, the answer for that one will be written in a double format only.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, how could it be the as the bit number is greater than the single precision? How could it be faster than the single precision, sir?
Yeah, that only I am telling you. It is not the case with respect to all the systems. It is the case when you have framed your system so that it is concentrating more on a double precision. See, what I mean to tell you is, say for example, I'll just give you some normal example, not a technical kind of stuff. Now what I will do is, I wanted to do some small task, some small work need to be done. Actually that particular work has got a 3 parts, right? Now what I will do is I will allot only one person to perform all the 3 operations, right? Say for example, instead of taking some example, just have a imagination, small imagination. That means if I want to finish a one particular task, I have to do some 3 steps, right? Say for example, you have ordered some food from the Zomato. Usually the food will come in a parcel, right? Now if you want to have the food, you have to do a 3 steps. That means the first step is you have to collect that, right? After collecting, you have to open that, right? After opening, then you will be having, right? So now I have a 3 packets in front of me, right? Then have a 3 packets if only one person is allotted for that, right? So first, so means only one person need to have those 3 packets, right? You need to open that one, have, throw that packet, next packet he has to open, have, and throw that packet, and the next packet he has to open and have. If I consider 5 minutes taken for a one particular parcel, for a 3 particular parcels need to be finished, he requires some 15 minutes, right? Now what I will do is, when I have a 3 packets, I will give a 3 packets to a 3 different people, right? When I am giving for a 3 different people, obviously the time taken will be only 5 minutes, right? So what I'm saying is, here also in this case, with respect to a precision, single precision or a double precision, you have a 3 different parts. One is a sign, next one is the exponent, third one is the fraction. If you are employing only one person to perform a calculation, then he has to go through all the 3 categories. He has to go through bit, sign bit, he has to go through exponent, he has to go through fraction. Instead of that, if you are allocating a 3 different people, saying that one person you take care of a sign, another person you take care of a exponent, another person you take care of a fraction, then obviously in a second scenario, the work done will be in a smaller time itself, right? What we are saying is, if you are using some sophisticated systems, advanced processors, modern processors, we think that modern processors might be implementing this particular pipeline. Whatever I said, like 3 persons, work has been divided for a 3 persons, right? If things have been done in a parallel or in a pipeline, there is a chance of improved performance, right? So it has been clearly mentioned that some modern processors that have been optimized for high speed mathematical calculation, only in those systems double precision will be a more faster. So in a Java functions like a sine, cos, square root, all those things, the return value will be of a double itself, right? So this is the width of a bits. If you are going with a double, it will take a 64 bits. If you are going with a float, it will take a 32 bits. Next, you have a char data type. As you already know, char data type is used to store a single character. So that particular single character will not be stored as a character as it is. It will be converted to ASCII value. So the equivalent of that particular ASCII will be stored in that particular way, right? So char is used to store character. The data type used is a char. Java char is a 16-bit data type. 16 bits data type. Yes, nice. So you might be having some idea of a range now, right? So what will be the range? 2 raised to 16 will be the range. Will you have a negative and a positive in this case? Is there any possibility of a negative and a positive character?
No.
Do you have something like a positive A and a negative A? Positive B, negative B? No, right? So if you are saying a 16 bits, then it will be considering only some positive values. So range will be a 2 raised to 16. Whatever might be the 2 raised to 16, that will be its range, right? So the range of a character is from a 0 to 2 raised to 16. That is a 65,536. Right? So whenever we are discussing with respect to character, keep in mind that character cannot be a positive and a negative. So its range starts from a 0 to maximum of a number of bits occupied by that particular variable. That is a 2 raised to 16. Right? So there are no negative characters. Okay. So we should get some doubt actually. ASCII values you don't have a till this particular range 65,536. You don't have that particular range of ASCII, but you are allocating 16 bits for this, right? So why this has been done is your character will also support some integer values which are positives, right? So what it is saying is the standard set of characters known as a ASCII still ranges from a 0 to 127 only. Okay. And the extended 8-bit character set, there is one more format, that is a ISO of a Latin 1. Don't worry about this one. There are some special symbols with respect to a Latin language. So all those languages also, so means all those special symbols also have given us some value for them. Okay. So even that particular range also ranges from a 0 to 255, right? So even though the characters, means visible characters which you are entering is taking a range from a 0 to 127 and a 0 to 255, also you have given a capacity of a 65,536 for a character, right? So this may be for many intentions. This may be something like in the future you might be having a more different constants or a more different symbols need to be stored. First thing. The second thing, you have some escape sequence characters, right? Even those escape characters will be stored in some ASCII value, right? So the remaining of this particular 255, after this particular 255, the remaining values will be used for some constants and as well as some integer support also. Let me remove that particular last line first. Right. Till this particular point, all the points are clear, I think. If you want to store some character, then you will be using the character data type, right? And we are saying that character data type, if you are specifying, it will be having a 16 bits to store some value. That is fine. When you are saying a 16 bits, obviously it will be from a range from a 0 to 2 raised to 16 because you are not storing any negative values. Clear? These are the 4 different points. Now the question is, on a keyboard, whatever alphabets you will be seeing, right? If you are typing those alphabets, I'm talking about alphabets, small a, capital A, small b, capital B, small c, capital C, all those things, along with some symbols like ampersand, dollar, percentage, cap symbol, and symbol, star symbol, all those things. For all these visible characters, right? Be clear with the statement. For all these visible characters which will be displayed on the system, right? If I press on a shift followed by 5, percentage will be displayed. That is a visible character. For all these visible characters to be displayed, you will be having a ASCII equivalent, right? So what is the range of that ASCII equivalent? We are saying that the range of ASCII equivalent is 0 to 127. That means whatever the symbol, whatever the key you will be seeing on a keyboard, all those keys will be having their ASCII values, and the maximum ASCII value is a 0 to 127, right? That is with respect to ASCII standard. You have a one more standard which is called as a ISO Latin 1. With respect to this particular ISO Latin 1 also, this is another set of symbols might be there. With respect to this format also, the maximum symbols is only from a 0 to 255, right? Even though the maximum number is only 255, your character is giving you a capacity for a 65,536 bits. That means that is the range. 65,536 is the maximum value, right? And as per now, with respect to a different standard using the ISO Latin also, the maximum value that you will be sending is only 255. But it has a capacity to hold a value which is of a 65,536, right? So this difference is there, right? From a 255 to 65,536, this particular difference can be used in a future for a different symbols. If you are adding, if you are building some new system like ASCII or ISO Latin, if you are putting a few more symbols, for that it can be used. A question in a chat box. Sir, isn't the size of a char 1 byte? How it is 16 byte? In a C language, the char is of a 1 byte. In a Java, the char is of a 2 bytes. 2 bytes in the sense 16 bits. That was actually beautiful question. In a C language, if you are declaring any variable as a char, then it will be a 1 byte itself. 1 byte in the sense 8 bits. But in a Java, if you are declaring anything as a char, then it will be occupying a 2 bytes. 2 bytes in the sense 16 bits. Am I clear with the explanation for the last point and answer for the question in a chat box?
Yes, sir.
Question extended in a chat. One more question in a chat box. Sir, ASCII uses a memory of a 1 byte, right? If yes, how we are saying the range to be 0 to 127 and not a 0 to 255? Because a 2 raised to 8 is 256. So means I'll tell you, you only have asked the question and you only have give the answer. See, I'm telling that with respect to a Java, character will be occupying the 2 bytes. That means 2 raised to 16 will be the maximum capacity. Now you are saying that if it is using a 1 byte, that means 8 bits. That means if it is a 8 bit, 2 raised to 8, then it will be a maximum of a 256, right? So whatever the range you are seeing here from 0 to 255, even this is nothing but a 256 only, because you are considering 0 also, right? You are saying from 0 till 255. That means 0 has been included. When you are including a 0 also, then it is obviously 256 values. Range might be from 0 to 255. How many number of values? Values are nothing but, so means how many number of places. Obviously it is a 256 only, right? So according to you, means whatever you have given a description in a chat box, whatever you have said is correct. To hold this particular range, 1 byte of information is enough. It is giving you an extra 1 byte of information, 1 byte of a space, just to make an adjustment. If you want any updations need to be done, if you want to add any more symbols, then that can be used. So this is the point where I have to highlight one of the feature of a Java. We have said that it will be adjusting for a changing operating system environment, right? If there are any changes with respect to underlying operating system, it will be having a flexibility, right? So this is a one of a flexibility. That means 8-bit was enough for representing a particular character. Rather, you are giving us some 60. So means 1 byte of a data, so means empty or kept idle for any other process to be done. Hello sir, which part of a programming in important in the Java? Most important part of a, so means in a Java programming, most important part is a object oriented concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, all those things. But if you want to understand those concepts from the core scratch, then all these things whatever we are discussing, even these things are important. Sir, ASCII values is to show the characters in number. Is it right? ASCII values, see, how can I tell you? Say for example, if you are pressing M on a keyboard, M will not be directly carried onto a display, right? Because your system internally it will be communicating only with respect to a binary. Okay, so M need to be conveyed in some number format, right? So that number format is nothing but ASCII, right? So what we will say, ASCII value of a is a 65, we will say. That means if I am pressing A will not be transferred onto a monitor first. A will be converted to its ASCII. Its ASCII is a 65. So 65 will be represented using a 8 bits or a 16 bits based on your system architecture. After converting that one to a 16 bits, right? 16 bits, you will be saying a 64-bit operating system, right? You will be saying a 32-bit operating system. That means one value which you will be entering, that will be represented using a 32-bit. That is the meaning of a 32-bit operating system. One value if you are entering, then it will be converted to a 64-bit. Then that is the meaning of a 64-bit operating system. Okay. So once it has been converted to that particular binary will be transferred to your monitor. There will be another application which will be converting that binary back to a ASCII. That means back to a symbol. It will be carried in a binary, but it will be displayed as a character. So that was with respect to char. Okay, and with respect to a Java, character can be used as integer also. Integer in the sense, do you remember unary increment, unary decrement operator like a plus plus minus minus, all those things? Okay, so in a Java, say for example, if you have assigned any variable with the x, then if you are doing a x plus plus means variable plus plus, right? So then you will be getting a next character. There is a small program for that one. Let me show you. This is the example. You can understand each and every line. That is the only intention why I'm directly displaying a program for you, right? So you can try to execute this program, no problem. You will be getting a proper output. Okay, so whatever is the double slash you are seeing, that is nothing but a comment line, right? So this is an example for displaying for showing a demonstration that character variables behave like integers, right? So there is a class created, class character demo2, that is the name given for that particular class. Public static void main string array of arguments, right? I have declared a variable called a char ch1. I have declared a variable called char ch1 and assigning ch1 is equal to x, right? So ch1 has been assigned with x. System.out.println, I'm just displaying whatever is the content of a ch1 first, right? ch1 contains, at this particular point it will be containing x only, right? So later I am doing ch plus ch1 plus plus, that means incrementing. Now x will become a y. Okay, so system.out.println ch1 is now it is containing ch1. That means whatever is the content of a ch1 now. Okay, so the output generated by the program is shown here. Initially it was a x, then you have made a x plus plus, so it will be a x in the starting, then it will be a y, right? So character variables behave like a integers. That means you can perform plus plus operation. Increment operations can be performed, right? Say for example, you should get a questions at this particular point. Questions in a chat box. Let me conclude this, then I will see the questions. Now at this particular point you should get some doubt saying that, say for example, if I have a ch1 is equal to z, if I am doing a z plus plus, right, increment will happen. Z plus plus means it was a z, so you are making a z plus plus. Now ASCII increment will be done. Whatever is the value with respect to a z plus plus, if it is denoting any symbol, symbol will be displayed. If it is not denoting any symbol, then the number will be displayed. Right, so the maximum range of ISO Latin 1 standard also is a 255. If you are giving any symbol of a 255 and saying a 255 plus plus, then the number will be a 256, right? So 256 number need to be displayed in this case, right? If you have a symbol, symbol will be displayed. If you don't have a symbol, its number will be displayed. If it is ch minus minus, previous character will be displayed. What is the use of a plus sign in a plus ch1? Okay, this is used for a, what I can say, adding, joining, right? So output what you are getting, ch1 contains x, that means ch1 contains this ch1, whatever is the value of this one, that will be substituted here. This will be called as a string concatenation. For a time being, don't worry about the term called a concatenation. What it says is, after this particular statement you print this particular value, right? After this particular statement, print this particular value. This need to be evaluated, right? It is just not just printing one, it is printing a value at a ch1, so it has not been kept in a double quote, it is out of a double quote. How many plus or minus we can add on a ch1? You can do how many number of additions or subtractions you want to, no problem. Garima Jain, your question was like a string args after a bracket and a string followed by a bracket args, both are same. Yes, both are same. You can either use the square brackets after the variable name or before a variable name. It doesn't make any difference, and we will be discussing that particular part with respect to arrays. Any other questions? Hello sir, can you send me the list of a C programming that important in the Java? For a time being, my suggestion, don't bother about a C language, whatever you are learning. See, now we are discussing from the basic, from the data types. Be clear with the Java. Even if you don't remember any concepts of a C also, no problem. Be clear with the Java now. Another question, sir, what if we use a shorthand operator instead of an increment operator. No problem. You can use any of operators. What will happen if we cancel the sign plus on a ch1? Then x will be printed twice. See, our intention of a program is to check that, see, generally plus plus is nothing but an increment operation. What does a plus plus indicates? Whatever is the previous value, add 1 to it, right? Plus plus is nothing but whatever is the previous value, you add 1 to that particular previous value. If for some variable I is having a 10, then if you are doing I plus plus, then it will become 11. That means whatever is the previous value, you add 1 to it. Correct? So we are discussing with respect to that particular part itself. We are saying that character variables behave like a integers, right? When they are behaving like integers means you can perform operations which can be performed on a integers, right? So that kind of operation is nothing but a plus plus. Initially it was a x. Now if I am incrementing 1, then it will be added with c. X will have some ASCII value, right? So that particular ASCII value will be added with 1. When you are adding that one with the 1, then obviously you will be getting a next value itself. It will print A to Z only. So that is what I told you, Ruby. I told you, like, first it will perform a integer operation. Whatever a number it gets, it will match that particular number with the ASCII character. If it is able to find that particular ASCII character, it will print that ASCII character. If it is not able to find that particular ASCII character, then it will print the number.
Sir,
Yes.
what if we replace the plus sign that we used for concatenation?
See, that particular plus is a different and a plus plus is a different. You are not relating that particular part, right? See, in a system.out.println, whatever argument you are going to pass, it will be considering everything as a string, right? String of information. If you remembered, in a C programming, if you want to put any value, you were writing a %d or a %f in a printf statement.
Yes, yes.
And you were telling that this %d and a %f is nothing but a placeholder. Later you were writing a comma followed by variable name, which shows that which value need to be placed there. Here, no need to specify a placeholders and all. What you have to do is, whichever is a static information, you put that particular static information in a double quote. ch1 contains static information. Now, after this, whatever need to be printed is the substitution, right? I want to put a value of a ch1. Then that particular ch1 should not be a part of a double quote. Outside it need to be written, right? When you are putting it outside without specifying this particular plus, then this particular println statement thinks that ch1 contains is a one part and a ch1, so means ch1 contains is a one part and this particular thing is another part. There will not be a only one statement. Then there will be a case of a two different statements. Now what we are doing is, when you are writing a plus, we are saying that you add, means you attach this particular value to this statement only. This plus is used for attaching. For already existing a statement, I am attaching this value. For already existing a statement, I am attaching this value. Hope.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Question in the chat box. How ch1 is now y came, means we assume this y. Garima, That is what I am explaining from that time. See, initially we have assigned a ch1 with a x in the sense it will be having some ASCII value, or else you assume something like this. I didn't add it with the x, I have put some a, because I know the ASCII value of a. ASCII value of a is 65. That means now what happened to this particular statement? 65 has been assigned to a ch1, right? 65 has been assigned to a ch1, but this is of a character type, right? If I am printing a 65 which is of a character type, obviously it will print a for me, not a 65, because it is of a character type, right? So now what I am doing is I am incrementing a 65 to 65 plus plus. Now it will become a 66, right? When I'm trying to print a 66 which is of a character type, 66 will not be printed. Whatever is the equivalent value of a 66, that is b will be printed.
Okay, sir.
Here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are the ASCII character? ASCII character, ASCII is not a character. ASCII values are there. ASCII values in the sense for each character there will be an equivalent value. Like how I said, for a you will be having a ASCII value as a 65. That means whenever you are writing a, it will not be stored as a, rather it will be stored as a binary equivalent of a 65. If you just type in a Google ASCII characters, ASCII values, you'll be getting a big chart which will show like what number is assigned for a what symbol. You can refer that one. Yes, Shaifullah, I think I have answered your question. Hari Krishnan, sir, here we are not using a percentage C specifier. That only I told you. In a Java, you are not required to use format specifiers. Rather, wherever you want to print the value, you can just concatenate that value within that particular statement. That means you can use this particular plus symbol and put the information. Right? Say for example, you want to print everything. You want to print after this particular ch1 some more information. After this ch1, you can write a plus. In a double quote, you can put some more information. No problem with respect to that. We will see an example on how to write a system.out.println, how to use a system.out.println. For a time being, don't crack your heads for this particular statement, system.out.println. Keep your concentration on a ch1 is equal to x. ch1 plus plus will make you a y. Right? So our intention is to justify that characters will behave like integers. Clear? Shall we proceed with another primitive data type? So that another primitive data type is nothing but a booleans. So you already know booleans will be accepting two values, either true or false, right? So now can you just guess what might be the size, like how many number of bits allocated for this particular boolean? Character has been assigned with 16 bits. What might be the number of bits allocated for a boolean? What are the possible values it has taken? It has taken only two possible values. Correct? It has taken either true or false. Think. This is a type written by rational operators. Rational operator, if you are doing a less than greater than all those things, you will be using this particular part. Okay. Boolean is also the type required by the conditional expression that govern the control statements such as if or for, right? Wherever you have a conditional statements, there you can use, so means that is a place where exactly you will be getting a Boolean values. Okay. So means this is for your assignment. That means you can Google and you can check how many number of bits will be allocated for a variable declared as a boolean, right? A small example: you have a class boolean bool test, public static void main string of a array of arguments. We have created one variable called a b, and now b can have either false or b can either have a true, right? So we are just printing whether it is storing a false or a true, right? So on this particular b, you can perform some conditional statements also. You can write something like if in the bracket b, right? So if it is a true, then a true set of statements will be executed. If it is a false, then a false set of statements will be executed. I hope you remember the basic of a if statement. If followed by a condition, you will be writing if a condition satisfies, then instructions after a if will be executed. If a condition become a false, then instructions in the else part will be executed, right? So similar example like that, right? So initially declared a boolean b, kept a false into b, later kept a true into b. At this particular point after this, b will be occupied with a true, right? So we are just saying if b, in this case will it be a true? Just now we have put a true into b, it will be a true. This is executed. That means you can see this particular statement. Once again a b has been occupied with a false. In this case this statement not executed. That means as the condition is false, it will not be executing this particular statement, right? So you can use the relational operators also. I have directly taken a relational operator as a part of this particular system.out.println. If you are not able to understand, no problem. I am telling you again, we will be discussing system.out.println statement separately, right? So for a time being, you just concentrate on a statements wherever you are putting a direct information, right? So where all the things we have written a printf statement like a println statements. Once we have put here, what will be output of this one? B is false. This will be a first statement. Then the next printf statement is here. That means println statement is here. This will be printing B is true because at this particular point B value is a true. Where is our next system.out.println statement? This will be our next out system.out.println statement. As the condition is a true, this statement also will be printed. So you will be seeing output this is executed. This is executed. Here in this case B is equal to false. As it is a false, this particular statement will not be executed. So you cannot see this statement in output. This is not executed, is not there in the output, right? You have a condition checked, that is 10 is greater than 9. Yes, condition is true. We have said that expressions will be evaluated to either true or false, but not a 0 or 1, right? So here this statement will be executed and a true will be printed. If you are changing a symbol here, then false will be printed here. Hope a program is understandable. Any questions? Someone raised a hand. Ashish Srivastava. Clear, sir. Thanks. Okay. Any other category of data types we need to discuss? What are the things we have discussed? We have discussed integers. In an integer, 4 different categories like a byte, short, long, and a int. 4 categories, right? So then we have discussed a floating point category. Under a floating point category, we have discussed a float and a double, right? So then we have discussed the char. You don't have any different categories with respect to char. So it is only one data type. There is one data type. Then we have discussed the booleans. So with respect to a boolean, you don't have any different categories. That will be taking only two values, that is true and a false, right? So with respect to means by discussing this particular booleans, we are done with the data types, right? If you have any questions in the data types, please post in a chat box. Already I got a one question. Not clear, sir. There is not any condition. Good question, I can say, but requires a little explanation for this. If I am writing A is less than B, will it be evaluated to either true or false? Whatever might be the value of A and B, based on that, this particular expression will be evaluated to either true or false with respect to Java. With respect to C language, this expression will be either evaluated to 0 or 1. That is clear, right? Now, when it is evaluating to either true or false, can't I give directly something like this? Anyhow, after this expression, it will be evaluated to true or false. Can't I give like this? Can't I give something like this? In a C language, can't I give any expression something like this? If 1, that means if a condition has been evaluated to 1, that means if a condition is evaluated to true, everything is same with respect to C. I can write a something like this in a C, saying that evaluation, means expression has been evaluated to 0, that is nothing but the false. All these things are valid with respect to C. Either you can write an expression which will be evaluated to either 0 or 1, or you can directly pass a 0 or 1. Both the things doesn't make any difference. So what we are saying is all these things are valid with respect to C. Ultimately, it will be either evaluated to 1 or 0. At the same like that, similarly with respect to Java also, whenever you are writing an expression that will be ultimately evaluated to either true or false, you can directly give a true or false, right? So in our example, whatever I have displayed there, instead of giving a directly true or false, first I am taking some variable. In that variable I am putting a true, then I am checking a condition if B. Ultimately I gave this one only, right? So later what I am doing is I am taking a B, I am putting a false into that, then I am giving if of B, right? Ultimately I am passing a false into that particular condition, right? So all these different ways are same itself.